The most authentic, profitable, and unique niche is you. I first realized this after years of pain, because the first thing that you come across when you embark on your journey to becoming a free individual is niche down. And just like the social matrix, there is a business matrix. Now, the social matrix, or just the matrix that everyone talks about, is a web of ideas and beliefs that act as anchors for your mind to make sense of the world. The government and culture influence the school system. The school system creates resources for students to learn from. The students don't question what they're taught. The students go on to be parents. The parents teach their children what they know and send them to school. The children make friends and conform further to fit in. The children grow up, get jobs, become teachers, become parents, become politicians, and create the knowledge and resources online and offline that influence culture. The parents, students, and children vote. The cycle continues to create the society we live in. Now, this isn't a bad thing. This is just how we learn to survive. But if we don't question what we learned along the way during our upbringing, as we're children learning from our parents and being given a very limited worldview, we don't know our potential or what we're capable of or what lies in the unknown. If we don't question what we learn, we end up a clone like everyone else. Now, the business matrix, in contrast to the social matrix, is just a web of ideas and beliefs that illustrates how businesses are supposed to operate. Think of it as the advice or education you get on how to start a business, usually from people online. Pick a skill, pick a niche, and do the same thing all over again. Do work you don't care about for people you don't care about to live a life you don't care about. You are a human. You learn by being exposed to beginner level knowledge, then intermediate and advanced. The thing is, who questioned this beginner level knowledge from the start? Are we absolutely sure it is the best way to go about things? Is it the most conducive to results, or does it cause more confusion that makes people quit too early? You decided to start a business because you wanted to escape the mechanical and meaningless lifestyle, not to create a new one where you can just earn a bit more than you did before at a job. Now, those who learn to break free of this business matrix can do whatever they want, but you can't break free in an instant because that's just not how things work. First, you learn the rules of the game, and then you kind of create your own rules of the game without breaking the other rules. So you need to play the game that others want for you, like you would in society with learning from your parents, but then eventually you reflect and you question, you think, okay, what can I actually do? How can I actually create my own game and get better results than those who came before me? Now, my goal with this video is to give you a complete outline of what your niche is, and that outline will contain pretty much all of your content topics that you'll ever talk about ever throughout the entirety of your brand to create your niche of one. So we're going to go over some philosophical stuff first, which I feel like will help a lot of people in understanding what a niche is and this entire You Are the Niche philosophy. And then we're going to go into how to actually create your niche and have it on paper, what it actually is, so you can use that. And then we'll, of course, bake in common questions like, okay, well, what if people don't find my interests interesting? And how do I start to talk about any interest that I want? So let's dive into it. When I began my business journey, I started with freelancing. I thought it was the most beginner-friendly option because all I had to do was learn a skill, sell a skill. So I decided to try my hand at freelancing with almost every skill you can think of: video editing, graphic design, SEO, content marketing, Facebook ads, and web design. My pain point was always choosing a niche. I would download free guides and I would endlessly search on Google for the top 100 niches to target. I targeted dentists and gyms and construction companies and pest control and a lot more. But what are the problems with this approach? First is I don't care about these people. I would and did hate working with them. This isn't a sustainable approach to something as important as your life's work. You're starting a business for a reason, and it isn't to just have a new boss. Now, some people argue like, oh, business doesn't have to be your life's work. It can just be a way to make money. It's like, I agree, but if the end goal is to just pursue your life's work after you start a business and generate some cash flow, and you can pursue your life's work just by starting a business in the first place, like what's the dissonance there? It just feels like laziness to me, and like you want the get rich quick option, which probably isn't going to work out as well as you think it is. The second thing is I don't have experience with their business. Most businesses fail because they try to solve a problem they haven't experienced. Remember that. Feel free to come back to me when you ignore this and fail. Third is it prioritizes finding, not attracting or becoming. You learn a skill for someone else, you search endlessly for people to reach out to, and end up spending more time on lead generation than building leverage. So one thing I want you to keep in mind for the remainder of this video is that I'm usually speaking under the lens of building an audience, because this is a new traffic mechanism for businesses, building a social media audience, right? Building an audience is just how you build a business. It's always been how you build a business with media and advertising and whatever it may be. Now with social media, where all of the attention is, because it's on the radio and on TV and other things, but most of the attention is on social media. And that is such a blessing for individuals who understand that they can just write content and build an audience and build a business that way. So that's what sparked this whole you are the niche thing, is that many people are operating from 20 to 30-year-old business mindsets and trying to apply that to the modern social media age when they just don't understand social media or how it works. So that's what I'm hoping to change here, is making you understand that as one person, you can build an audience and you can start a hyper profitable business without boxing yourself into a specific niche. We'll learn how to do it. It's no wonder people don't stick to building a business. The business ideologies circling the space have dominated for too long. They are shallow and lack regard for human nature, psychology, and fulfillment. And that's just the thing. Things evolve beyond being shallow. There are better ways to start a business now, so we're going to learn how to create our own niche that is profitable, authentic, and something you actually enjoy doing. First, we'll start with a few lessons that will spare you a lot of pain. First is that the endless shiny object syndrome you have with finding a niche is a blatant sign that business hasn't clicked for you yet. You don't understand it. You haven't failed enough. You haven't produced enough. You can make any niche work. That's why it's wise to create your own. The second lesson is to build a product or service that you would actually buy, use, and benefit from. There aren't many shortcuts in business, but this is one of them. When you do that, you become the niche, and you can focus on marketing to your past and current self. So now let's talk about it. Why the most profitable niche is you. Build a product that you would buy, use, and benefit from. Write the words that you would stop, read, and act on. When you know yourself, you get to skip ahead of the 99% of failed businesses that haven't experienced the problems they are trying to solve. Most people don't understand that they belong to a very specific niche. You already follow a broad number of people that talk about a variety of different interests, and that's what's created your current personality or identity, because your personality or identity are created by the information that you're repeatedly exposed to and that you deem important and worth accepting into your mind. So this is mistake number one when creating your niche. If your job is to target a specific person and you are a specific person, why are you narrowing in on one specific interest that you want to sell a product or service around? Do you not have more than one interest? Do you not already follow people that talk about their opinions, their values, their lifestyle, and their expertise? No, talking about one specific skill or interest won't make you more authoritative. No, people won't trust you more. At best, you'll look like a glorified search engine of actionable advice. So that's one major difference between building an audience before and having like a way to target actual people with something like paid ads and social media, is that social media, you don't really control where your content goes. It's placed in front of people at random, according to their likes and interests from the algorithm, sure. But it's mostly random people who have no idea who you are or what you do. So when they only talk to that niche, they have more difficulty at the start. Fewer people share their content, so they can't get in front of the right people. And they may grow to 5,000 followers in a year when someone who incorporated their interests can grow to 20,000 in a year. After 3 years, the first gets to 30,000 followers and the second gets to 300,000 because of the compounding effect. But Dan, those 300,000 followers don't care about my product or service. They're not hot leads. They aren't going to buy from me right away. They're useless. There's a lot to unpack there because I hear that all the time. It's like, if I just talk about my interests, the people aren't going to buy my product or service. First, if those 300,000 followers each know 3 to 5 people that they can refer to you, that's a 900,000 to a 1,500,000 follower audience thanks to the network effect. All while 30,000 follower hyper niche down guy is struggling to have enough leverage to get out of manual client work. So that's one thing, is like, this is all nuanced. If you want to build a very specific audience so that you can land clients and sustain your work, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to evolve and have a lot of leverage to not only build digital products or build other businesses or have a big network to build that startup that you want to build, or just choose this direction because it's more fun. And if you only want to do freelance work like you would with the niche down audience, you can still get the same, if not better results doing it and enjoy the process more. Another thing here is that it's not just like, oh, if I post about my interest, my entire business is dead. My brand is dead. That's not how this thing works. People get like, since money is tied to it, they get in such this narrow-minded state where they're like, oh my God, if I make one mistake, my entire life is at risk. My entire business is at risk. I'm not landing any more clients. That's not how it works. You're getting thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of impressions on specific pieces of content. If you can't turn any of those into clients, no matter what audience that is, via referrals or just persuasion, then you probably shouldn't be in business, or you just need to upskill yourself in persuasion and marketing more. So the second thing there with not attracting people that are already hot leads ready to buy the product or service that you offer is that they're not supposed to buy from you right away. That's the entire purpose of writing content. You help them go from beginner content to advanced product with time. You create customers by raising them up the levels of awareness. You attract with social media, educate with newsletters, emails, or free downloads, and help them implement with your product or service. So brand is to attract, content is to nurture, product is to implement. And the third thing with this is that nobody is a useless follower. You are just so narrow-minded and indoctrinated with outdated business dogma that you don't understand that people can learn something new that improves their life. The lesson: you can go on social media right now, read a post, and become interested in a new topic. You aren't just born with specific interests. You are persuaded of their importance, like how lifting weights can give you confidence, improve your health, and make you look good. So you slowly adopt them as an interest. Then you become a part of that niche. So your job is to argue why your interests are valuable to adopt. All of your content is persuasive arguments, like how this video argues that you are the niche, meaning you aren't targeting a niche. You are a niche, and your job is to persuade people to join it. By the way, I teach all of this in digital economics. Link in the description. Now we need to talk about what a niche actually is. A niche is a perspective or worldview. Become a nobody. Become everything. Become a designer, writer, marketer, socializer, runner, bodybuilder, philosopher, scientist, psychologist, and polymath who knows how to sustain your obsessive curiosity. The universe rewards those who don't impose their own limits. So let's break down what a niche actually is. When you are the niche, and you are constantly changing and evolving because you're improving, hopefully, then you are nicheless. If you aren't constantly evolving and improving and your niche isn't changing, then you aren't changing and you're probably in the wrong type of business and it's not going to be sustainable. As an example, you can be like Zuby, who makes music and sells tickets to a show one day and then talks about politics another day and then sells a fitness ebook the next day. And he's doing perfectly fine. Or you can be like Hamza, who has an extremely broad niche like self-improvement, which encapsulates literally everything. And I'm talking everything. Everything valuable or actually worth pursuing is self-improvement. Going to Mars is self-improvement on a collective scale. Elon Musk, his niche is self-improvement. But at that point, it's just an expanded version of self. It's an expanded sense of self where self, you have begun to identify with humanity as a whole. You've expanded your circle of concern, and so now your products are spaceships and stuff like that. But with Hamza and self-improvement, he talks about confidence and masculinity and dating and fitness and business and all of these other things where he's not in a very hyper-specific niche there. He is the niche because he is a self-improver. That's his identity. Your identity is your niche. Or put more practically, your niche is what you are interested in and why it's important to your life. You don't box yourself into hyper-specific skills or interests that you will outgrow because you are human. You will grow bored of it, or it will no longer serve you, like talking about agency work, because you change what you do as your business grows. Locking yourself into a niche makes it extremely difficult to develop yourself beyond it. Your business evolves as you evolve. If your business is a narrow niche, you limit your own potential. So now, why are you told to niche down in the first place? So you can understand the minds of your readers and customers. You're told to create a customer avatar, identify a burning problem they face, and position a solution toward them. The solution is often the same as any other product on the market with small changes. The point is to make it perceived as valuable to a specific person by understanding them. So a hack here is to recreate what already exists, but better, and don't overcomplicate it. The thing there is that all products are the same. Like all self-help products are the same, all business products are the same. They're just positioned towards different people. That's why creating a niche is important. It's because I can talk about writing and someone else can talk about writing, but it's two completely different people, and that's what makes it unique. But I target my past and former self, for the goals the problems that they're trying to solve and the goals that they're trying to achieve. So I position it towards them. Another writer may position it towards soccer moms because they are a soccer mom, or they just wanted to target that niche. That's why we're doing this here. But targeting yourself is just so much easier, and it goes a layer deeper than just making money or business. It's about self-improvement, self-awareness, and actually building products that help people's lives and working with people that you enjoy. So why don't we skip all of that and treat ourselves as the customer avatar, solve problems that we've actually experienced, and build a solution that actually benefits our lives. And then once you grow as a person, as an individual, your products start to evolve and you just build a new product and distribute a new product. In essence, a customer avatar is the mind, worldview, or perspective of someone you are creating for or marketing toward. So from a structural standpoint, a worldview or perspective is composed of a few things. The first is just goals, the conscious or unconscious goals that influence every single action you take, like taking one step forward or going to the gym. When I say one step forward, I literally mean taking a step. You are acting towards a goal. You are moving in a specific direction. Everything you do is associated with some goal. It's just unconscious. Self-generated goals put you in control of your life. The entire, what's the Jung quote, Carl Jung quote? If you don't make the unconscious conscious, then it will determine your fate and control your life, something like that. But it's just presence, mindful living, becoming conscious. A person with the assigned goal of society to retire at 60 years old will see fewer business opportunities than a person with a self-generated goal of financial freedom at 25 years old. Goals also frame how you or your readers interpret books and content. Two people with different goals will have radically different highlights of the books and content. They will notice the things that aid in their goals, whether they are aware of it or not. So the second thing that composes a niche or worldview or identity is problems. The conscious or unconscious problems that prevent you from reaching your goals and ideal lifestyle. The foundation of marketing as a whole is to raise your readers' levels of awareness surrounding their problems over time. So if you've solved your own problems and are helping your audience do the same, you are in a great position. The 5 levels of awareness are 1, unaware, which is unaware of their problem and how it is hurting their quality of life. 2 is problem aware, so aware of their problem but don't know how to solve it. 3 is solution aware, so they're aware of their problem and know there's a solution, education, or knowledge to solve it. 4th is product aware, so they're aware of the problem and know there's a streamlined path or system to solve it. And 5th is most aware, so they are ready to change, they just need the right why that changes behavior instantly. Like when you read an idea in the book and it changes your entire outlook on life. So all content and your landing pages and your products and whatever it may be have to target the person at whatever level of awareness they're at in relation to the goals or problems that compose your worldview that you can help them achieve. So the goals of your brand, your vision for the future, the problems along the way, how are you positioning the content, education, insight, whatever it may be, opinions to them in a way that's understandable. So top of funnel, social media content is usually in between levels, awareness levels 1 and 3. That's who you're writing to. It's mostly beginner level. Then newsletter or a free download is usually a step beyond that. It's like 2 to 4. And then during that, you target the most aware, level 5, to sell them on your product on your landing page. When your worldview is your niche, your job is to write in a creative fashion that increases people's awareness of their problems. That way, they act on a solution toward reaching their goals. Another way to think of it is that every piece of content you write and every product you build helps people learn the knowledge or skills that allow them to reach the goals of your brand. The bigger the goal, the more people you can attract and help. You help them reach the goal by solving problems or pain points. So your content and products argue why achieving a specific goal is important and give them the knowledge, tools, and education to solve the problems standing in the way. Now, the third thing, the last thing, there's goals, which gives people direction. It is motivation, or it entices people to be attracted to you. The problems are what you help people solve to actually change their life. But how do you actually solve the problems? That's the potential paths that they can take. That's number 3. When people don't have clarity on their next steps, they feel anxious, overwhelmed, or bored. This is what causes arguments in relationships, dissonance in business, and battles between political parties. People who don't share the same worldviews are missing pieces of the other party's path, narrative, or system that allows them to make sense of that situation. So when you are the niche, your job is to create a holistic, step-by-step path that you can share with readers who have your same worldview, usually in the form of a product or service that you can be paid for. That way, they're more likely to actually get results and understand you. But there's a reason why my philosophical content introduces a lot of people to business. It's because they're learning it better from me because we have a very similar worldview and it makes more sense to them. I'm not the most hyper practical guy who's going to walk you through step by step. Okay, here's how you make $1 million in whatever amount of time. I still do that, but I bake in the philosophy so that people who aren't yet in business but have the potential to do very well in business, I can teach them best. They're going to learn from me best. So beyond goals and problems and potential paths or systems or products people can take to reach the goal and solve the problem, there are of course other things in the human psyche that influence how people perceive and act on those goals and problems. Things like prior experiences, firm and loose beliefs, and skill levels across all domains of life. All of the above can be conscious, unconscious, known, or unknown. Your entire job as an education brand is to raise the consciousness of your audience. And a note, by education brand, I mean a brand that gives actual value, a creator that teaches their audience and improves their life, not an influencer that posts half-naked pictures, flexes their lifestyle, or posts self-deprecating memes. Make your audience conscious of their goals and problems, argue the importance of the goals, and illustrate the impact of their problems. Show the benefits of achieving the goal and pains of not solving the problem. This is Persuasion 101. Your niche is the frame of big goals and burning problems that compose your worldview. Your job is to program the minds of your audience to adopt this frame or worldview, pursue those goals, and solve those problems. This is a massive yet fulfilling undertaking to live a life of purpose. So in a nutshell, you're attracting people to the goals. You're helping them solve the problems with your content. And your product is the implementation. It's how they actually go about solving the problem by changing their behavior. Now, since you have to persuade and change people's minds, you have to understand that this is a big responsibility. This is taking on a lot of responsibility and emotional labor for your life. That can be very fulfilling, and it can also turn very bad if you are not developed or ethical enough to be doing this type of work. Niches are supposed to be specific, and what is more specific than this? A desirable goal that will change your life and your readers' lives, which is brand, a burning problem that will ease your suffering and your readers' suffering, which is content, a clear path, system, or solution to bring you clarity and your readers clarity, which is product. The goals and problems will almost always be similar to someone else's. Everyone has the same goals and problems in the eternal markets: health, wealth, relationships, and happiness. But the path is singular to you. Everyone wants financial freedom, but two people have to take different paths. You may go the social media and online business route with e-commerce and the unique skills, mindset, and experience associated with that. Another may go the investing and real estate route with another unique combination of skills and interests. But remember that every other skill or interest you learn along the way also aids in you achieving those goals. If journaling, going on a walk, or playing video games were included on that path to financial freedom in this case, no matter how direct to achieving your goal, it still played a role in you achieving your goal. All of the beliefs, skills, and billions of bits of information you process along the way toward achieving your goals is the most unique niche in the world. Your job is to document your mind and experience on the internet. That's it. Your job is to attract a specific group of people. You do this by writing ideas in a way that makes sense to you, from your worldview, from your point of view. The specific group of people are those with your same personality. That's how you set yourself up to create a product for yourself that sells without market research. So just the practicality of that is when you notice an idea, post it, but from your own point of view. That's what makes you unique. Take the ideas that already work and post them under your brand. We'll talk about that a bit more. But now we actually have to outline your niche. We need to create the book of your life that you are going to write with content and products. So this is how you create your niche of one. When you document your life on the internet, you create your niche of one. The mindset and skill set of your past, present, and future self should be illustrated in a persuasive manner to attract those with a similar personality, but are a few steps behind you so you can actually help them. You are going to outline the structure of a book you would write about your life. This will be used for pattern recognition and content creation. So by creating an outline in anything, you have this outline, and because it's there, you're going to notice more ideas in conversations or in the books you read or in the content that you read, and you're going to be able to notice that, fill in the outline, or just post or create the product or whatever it may be. You'll notice more opportunities for yourself. Also, you're going to use this as a content plan for the next 1 to 3 years, or just 1 year, and then repeat and refine all of that content over the next year and then the next year. So you're going to post these as newsletters, and you're going to break that down into content ideas. You're going to post them on social media. You're going to write threads. You're going to do everything to illustrate your worldview, your skill set, your interests, your mindset, everything about you in a valuable way, not just whatever way you want to do it, but a valuable way. Because the thing here is that brand is created over 6 to 12 months. Like, people just don't see your brand and are like, oh, yep, that's your brand. A brand is the depth behind everything. It's the values, it's the vision, it's the goals, it's the problems you help solve, it's everything. And you can't just illustrate that with one piece of content. So understand that all of this happens over the course of 6 to 12 months. That's how long it takes for people to see you as an authority and trust you. So with that, fill out the book structure that we're going to go over right now for someone who is 1 to 3 steps behind you. And if you want to learn how to write out this book outline, I would consider downloading my 2-hour writer course, which helps you write posts, threads, and newsletters. You're going to have all of the ideas that create your niche right now, but you need to write them out online. So the first part is the book introduction, or your story. And pull out a piece of paper for all of this. You're writing this down. Your story is your brand. It is important that you get clear on what your story is so you can use it to frame content from a unique angle. You can start almost any writing with a personal experience. That alone makes it unique and not like the rest of shallow writing. If you need an example of this, just go back to the first part of this video where I talk about my experience with finding a niche, going over 100 different niches and things like that. That resonates with a lot of people. Okay, so fill in the answers to these questions on the paper that you pulled out. Where did you start out? What struggles did you go through? What was the climax of your journey? What did you achieve that is desirable to others? What topics, interests, or skills helped you get there? Remember that all of these are content topics. Now, section 1 of your book is going to be the philosophy, because you need to get people on the same page as you. Your philosophy is your answer to the question, how does one live the good life? If you're not writing this down yet, you should just leave the video. Write this down. You must constantly illustrate the importance of what you believe and do in a way that leads toward your ideal future or avoids the enemy of your brand. Describe your ideal future and lifestyle in detail. What goals are you leading your followers towards? Describe the enemy. What is the future and lifestyle you want to avoid like the plague? What are beliefs you have that others would consider extreme or offensive? What is the importance of each topic, interest, or skill you've learned to help you on the way toward your ideal lifestyle? Take your time with this. The outline can be as long as you want it to be. The answers to these questions will form the majority of your content ideas that lead to the most of your growth and authority. This is the part that makes you unique. Now, section 2 is education. This is how you build authority. It's by educating your audience and helping them. Your job is to educate people on the skills or interests that help them achieve your version of the good life or your philosophy. Literally teach them the skills or interests and how you learned it. There's only so much that can be said about this. You aren't creating anything new. You are simply creating a library of information under your brand. That way people can learn from you. Now, don't fall into the trap of they can just learn this information somewhere else online. You have to assume they don't have the drive to learn elsewhere and that you have to give them the information. Also, realize the massive difference between organic content and intentional searches. People on social media aren't actively looking for education. No, they don't already know it. No, they can't just search for it because they don't have a reason to. Show them that you are valuable enough to follow and they will solely learn from you. Now, please don't ignore this. Any idea that you could see and you want to put under your brand in the form of content, save it for later and then post it. If it's already been said or taught by someone else, good. Say it from your own point of view, in alignment with your own goals, because goals shape how you perceive situations. So if you have an idea, okay, think about your goals or the vision for the future and how that relates to it, and boom, you have a unique piece of content. The other thing is that if it's already been said or taught and is popular, that means it's going to be useful for your followers too. And as we'll discuss in the next section, people remember those who first taught them the knowledge that is useful to them. Be that person for more people. As an example, The Power of Now was recommended to me by Matt Ogus. So I will always remember that. Anytime I read the book, The Power of Now, I'm going to think of Matt Ogus. Anytime people hear one person business, if I was the first person to introduce it to them and make it click for them, geez, you're going to remember me, right? That's going to give me the authority in that case, even if the other person is talking about the one person business. Now, section 3, after your story, your philosophy, education, so how to actually get there. Section 3 is practice. Create step-by-step systems and practices that your readers can use to get better at your skills or interests. Do this now. Write out step-by-step plans for your audience to learn the skills or interests under your brand, then write content about them. Turn the best ones into products or services. As a bonus, slap your own name on these. If you want to recreate something like the Eisenhower matrix for productivity, then do it. What I'm saying here is that take something like 1% better every day, or the Eisenhower matrix, or something of that nature, and spin it and make it your own. Put a new name on it. So if you see something like solopreneurship, put a spin on it like the one-person business. If you see something like the 4-hour work week, try turning it into the 4-hour work day or 2-hour writer. Behavior change is the driver of authority and recognition. When you write your quote-unquote book with time on social media, in emails, and in free downloads, you build a brand that blows past 99% of people. So we understand what a niche is. We understand that boring philosophy that I went over. We understand how to create your niche of one, which is outlining the book and then writing the book in newsletters, threads, social media posts, etc. over 6 to 12 months until people genuinely understand your brand. So now let's quickly talk about the psychology of interest. How to talk about whatever you want and still get paid. Since I've been working to kind of change the online business landscape and make it more accessible to the individual, I get this question almost daily. I want to talk about more of my interests, but what if it gets low engagement or my audience doesn't like it? First, we need to understand the difference between content and product. People think that content is all about promotions. They think they should only write content that leads to sales and leads for their product. They think they should niche down everything they write about rather than having a specific and compelling landing page or free download for a product that establishes authority in one go, so you don't have to talk about it all the time in your content. They also don't realize that you can write one newsletter and then post that as a blog article and then turn that into a YouTube video and then break that down into content ideas so you can post those things and plug those things under it, because then those are evergreen pieces of information. I can write social media posts all day long, but since they disappear, it's just wise to continue writing it so that they attract more people. But along the way, I can occasionally write about writing or business or whatever it is that I sell something related to. And then I plug either a newsletter or an article or a video or a free download or just my product landing page. And if my product landing page actually educates people to the point of trusting me and knowing that this is valuable for their life, then I don't really need to write about that thing too much because it already lives on the internet and all I have to do is link to it. Now, another thing is that I just see this way too often. Sometimes the only thing people post is just like images of their product or just updates. Like you see this on software all the time. It's like, yeah, some people follow the social media account for updates of the product, but you're not really attracting any new customers that way. Sometimes you are, but it's like that's just such a boring way to run social media, especially for a company. If that's your life's work, why is it not better? Or they make a post with something valuable, but then they can't help but just like throw a promotion in there. I see this sometimes. I won't name drop, but I see the guy, he finally makes a good post and it's like, damn, this is a good post. And then you click on it and you go under it and it's like, celebrate the best American business there is on the planet. And it doesn't even relate to the post. And then they plug their supplements and it's like, dude, you would have probably made more sales if you just didn't include that. Whatever, it may work. I actually don't know. That's just how I perceive it. The problem here is that most of these brands just don't show that they're a human. They never educate, entertain, or inspire. You know, the things that people actually follow and show up for on social media. They only sell. Nobody follows company accounts. People follow educators, entertainers, and inspirers. Red Bull has a massive following because they don't have a single picture of their product on their Instagram. It's all inspirational content about the lifestyle people are living because of Red Bull. If all you do is talk about your product, that is a great way to never grow your brand, have engaged readers, or see exponential growth in revenue. A personal brand is the most potent traffic source for your product, service, or brand in general. So let's start by flipping this on its head. What happens if you only talk about the interests or skills that make you money? First, you get low engagement. If your content doesn't get shared, how are you going to grow so that you have more people to promote to? Second is you don't build trust or authority. Stop thinking like you have to monetize right now and start thinking that you're going to monetize in 12 months and you'll monetize faster now by doing so. Third is that people don't like you. If you ever want to pivot and sell something else, you won't be able to. You're trapped in whatever niche you always sell to. The thing with this is the question that I see coming up is like, okay, well, if I write about my interests and I'm building an audience and I'm growing, then how do I promote? First, just separate the two things, content and product. Create a content creation schedule. So let's say 3 social media posts a day, 1 newsletter a week, 1 thread a week, maybe maximum. And then content promotion schedule. Okay, I'm going to promote twice inside of my newsletter. I'm going to promote 3 times a week under one of my social media posts. And you just create a system and then you test it and then you try it out and then you change it. You put it on your calendar and you actually do the thing. If you aren't making sales, okay, increase promotions. If that still doesn't work, okay, make the promotions better. If you're not growing on social media, okay, change your content schedule. Okay, that's not working, make the content better. It's pretty freaking simple. Now, the thing with all of this is that people have multiple interests. Insane. That's absolutely insane. People have multiple interests. It's crazy. Second thing is that people can adopt new interests. Oh my God. You can make your interests interesting so people become interested in them. You do this by highlighting the benefits of achieving the goals of your brand and making people aware of how to solve their pain points with your skills and interests. This is what turns viewers into fans into super fans. Someone may follow you for one interest, like how you would follow Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson after watching a movie he starred in. Now they're a viewer. Then you either share another interest of theirs or get introduced to something new, like how The Rock posts about fitness and nutrition. Now they're a fan. Then they discover the beliefs or values that compose their mindset, like how The Rock values gratitude and hard work. Now they're a super fan. Talking about more than one interest is how you become irreplaceable. The best personal brands do this without trying. And then usually they tell you to go into a niche because they don't realize that they are the niche. They don't realize what they're doing. They're like, oh yeah, I post about this thing maybe every other day, but I also talk about all these other things, but no, that's not even a part of my brand. That's called unconscious competence. The thing with this is the best personal brands do this without knowing, or the unconscious competence, because they just post whatever they deem important to them and attempt to illustrate the importance to you. And they know the content does well because if it's valuable to them, it's probably valuable to you or some people. So here's how you can begin doing this. First, focus on education. Adopt the mind of your past self, an absolute beginner. How would they get to where you are now in a better way? Post that. Second is focus on understanding. Zoom out and identify the gaps in your followers' knowledge. What do they need to know to get on the same page as you? Post that. Third is focus on importance. Analyze your life and realize why you do what you do. Why do you only have those select skills and beliefs rather than the millions of others you could have? People think they're not niche down by talking about 2 to 3 interests when there's a lot more interests out there. You're very niche down by being the niche. Why did you take the path you did over another one? Post that. That is it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn high impact writing so you can grow on social media, even though it's just a good skill to learn, doesn't really have to be social media either. Check out 2 Hour Writer. If you want to build the digital product, check out Mental Monetization. If you want both and a lot more in between, check out Digital Economics. Other free stuff is also in the description. Like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.